morning everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is Scott and today I'm going to be taking you along the way with me as I redo the engine compartment in Jennifer's C7 Corvette.
Thank you to the sponsors that are listed on the screen for sponsoring this episode of the Corvette channel.
So ever since we got the car back in August of last year, we've been wanting to get the engine compartment dolled up so we can actually show the engine off at the car shows. And so the car itself has just been very basic under the hood, nothing special, just the way it came. And Jennifer's been wanting a Jake Plenum cover, and so today our show is being sponsored by American Hydrocarbon. They've provided this for us today, and when I got it, I opened up the hood and realized just how ugly the C7 engine is when you don't have anything done to it. So I'm going to take you along with me today. I've started pulling some of the covers off and different pieces of the underneath the engine, and I'm going to go ahead and start painting those so they'll be worthy of this particular part, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how this is installed. But you can see right here, this is a beautiful piece of work and I can't wait to get this thing on the car. I've only got about a week now before our next car show, and I want to get it on there for her so it'll be able to, you know, have a chance of winning one of the engine prizes. So anyway, sit back and relax. I'm going to show you what we're doing as far as pulling all the covers off, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint them and then let them dry, and then we'll get them put back on. And then one of the last things that has to happen is that this actually gets velcroed onto the very top of the plum cover. But so you get to see what it looks like before and you get to see what it looks like after. So stay tuned. Before I get started, I just wanted to show you what we're working with and what we're starting with. If you take a look at the lettering on the top here, not so much on this cover, but if you look over on this cover over here, let me see if I can get over there with my camera, you can see that cover, the lettering is coming off. Now what I figured out what had happened is that someone, before we got the car, had not put these covers on correctly, and so it was lifted up, and it was literally kind of slowly being sanded off by the hood liner. So it didn't hurt the hood liner, thank God, but it just slowly took the lettering right off the covers. So I just wanted to show you what this looks like before we get started. We're going to be taking all of these panels off here, all the way down into here. We're going to paint this. This is going to end up being carbon flash. This is going to end up being carbon flash as well, and then this is going to end up being the same color as Jennifer's car, the exterior car, the Laguna Blue. And then we have our wonderful Jake Plenum cover that we have gotten from American Hydrocarbons. We're going to be putting that on. So I'm going to be showing you how to install that, but I wanted to show you what we are starting with. This is just a base, bare bones engine compartment. The only thing that I have done in this compartment at all is to put that emblem on the hood liner. Once you pull these covers off, it's going to reveal the little studs that the covers hook onto. And these are 10 millimeter. You can see right here they're 10 millimeter studs. Now I've already cracked them loose here with my socket, but you're just going to remove those, okay? I'm going to break this free and remove those like that. And you do that on both sides. So I'm going to be able to take these out like this. Just like so. You're going to do that on the other side also, and then at that point you can see we've got our two bolts here. See right there, we're just going to break those free. And just breaking those free, and then I'll be able to go to the other side of the car, take those loose, and then the cover itself will come right off. So you can see here I'm just spinning this little guy out. Just like that. Okay. And then at that point, this little guy, there's a couple little straps you'll have to break loose from the harness here, but then this will just lift up and off. So it's not a whole heck of a lot there. You're just going to lift this little guy off. There's some little straps to hold the harnesses on. You're going to have to unplug this plug right here, but other than that, it just comes right off. Once we've got the covers off here, you can see that this is what she looks like without all the pretty trim on it. So now we've got all of our parts over here, and I'll be getting those prepped and ready to go so we can get those painted. Guys, here's what we've got going on here. We've got these all painted, and I put the labels on. While I was doing it, I was also redoing mine on my car. I pulled the labels off because I had not cleared over them. So these got all new Corvette letters on both of those. I'm going to go ahead and clear these. These have already been cleared once, but we'll re-clear them now with the stickers on there. And then we've got all these parts here. They're all blue. Got them all painted up. And now we'll go in and we'll get those all cleared. Here's the moment we've all been waiting for. I painted a bunch of the parts, pulled them all apart here, and then I went ahead and painted them. And so I've reassembled the filter assembly here. Hopefully you can see it. She's nice and pretty blue now. So I went ahead and put that in, and so I'm going to just try to get everything back in place without breaking anything. And I still, you know, the paint's dry, but I still have to be a little bit careful with it, so I just got to take my time here. Make sure I'm not going to screw it up somehow. Like that. And I went ahead and I painted the mounting bolts also. I gotta say, this paint is a just dead-on match for the car. It looks awesome. I think Jennifer's gonna be like totally stoked over it. Okay, we've got a couple different things here. This I didn't paint. I just went ahead and this will give it some contrast. This just goes right down here, hooks onto the filter, goes back onto the intake. So I need to get that in place before I put the vent on. So I'm just going to put this little guy down here like so. Get that out of the way. Slide that on. Just like that. And then that one just goes on there like that. Alright guys, once we've got the air cleaner back in, I've got the hoses on here, I'm just going to tighten the nuts down, the hose clamps. That one there, one up here. Okay, just like that.
Then at that point, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put the hoses back on, and they just snap in place. It's like that. Okay, so that's good. So our next piece is the bottom part of the vent that we've painted. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this in here. Let's see if I can get that lined up just right. I'm having to be fairly careful with this. The paint is still fresh. It's only a couple of hours old. Maybe 2.5 hours, somewhere in that ballpark right now. So you've got to be fairly careful. You don't want to be just going and putting a bunch of pressure on it. But I'd like to get it in place while we still got sun. And let's see if I can get my... I even painted the screws here to match, so they would look like they belong. Now here's the regular plenum cover right here. Now I'm just going to take these bolts loose here again. I only put them back in because I didn't want to lose them. Now I already showed you the jake that we're putting on this. I'm not going to put that on tonight. I'm going to let all of the paint settle and dry tonight. Because it actually gets velcroed onto the top of the plenum here. So I want to make sure that this paint has had a chance to set before I go and stick some Velcro on it. What I'm doing now is I'm just setting this back in place. You just kind of have to move the wiring harness out of the way a little bit on both sides to make room for it to slide down. So you just have to wiggle it around, massage it around just a little bit, and it'll go down. And you can see the screws there, guys, so it's not like it's not rocket science. You'll know that you're not pinching anything just by the way it actually just sits there. There we go. At that point, we can go ahead and we can put these little guys in. That, reach over there. There's my net driver. I'm probably in your guys' way. I'm sorry about that. Alright. Now you should be able to see me better. Okay, so we're just going to put our screws back in. Just like that. Go. And that's in place. You've got the harness that has the little clips on it that we had to pull loose in the very beginning, and you're just going to want to push those back into the holes just so they seat, just like that. So you'll see where they go. There we go, just like that. So the word of the day here is finesse. It's not brute strength. Just take your time. It'll go. Just like that. And then we're going to take this little guy and we're going to plug that little guy right back in. And press that blue tab back in. Alright, so here's the other cover right here. Just got 2 bolts here, here, and here. And we're just going to slide this little guy on. Now you have to be careful here because you can scratch your paint up pretty good just by not getting it in there just right. This side is a little bit easier to do than the other side. The other side is gonna work you a little bit. You see how that just went right on. We just have to use a Torx to tighten it up. Now doing this exact same thing on the other side is going to take a little more doing. It's pretty tight over there on that side. It goes back in. You just got to take your time. Alright, so now we are on the passenger side, and like I was saying, it's definitely a lot tighter over here. So we're going to just try to get it in. Again, you only have the 2 screws that are going to be holding it in place. So we're just kind of feeding it down in there. Okay, so we're just going to try to get this little guy down through all this. Okay, so like I said, it's not hard, it just takes a little finessing there. And then you're just going to snug the bolts up. So like that. We have our plenum cover on, we've got our coil pack covers on, got our venting there. We still have the vent up on the hood that we have to put on. And we've got our fuse box, our fuse panel here. We're going to go ahead and might as well put that one on now since it's right here. Okay, just going to lift these hoses up out of the way a little bit so we can get that in there like so. And she'll just snap in place. This here, we're going to be able to snap this on like normal. Just like that. Like that. And we've got our 2 screws here. They go right here. Just going to snug these screws up. And then the only thing we have left is our covers. And this time we'll get them right where they belong. Because this is what damaged them the first time around, is they didn't get these seated correctly. That. And this one will go right over here. Just like this. And just like that. And we're good. So now take a look at that, guys. Doesn't that look good? I think it just totally brings that engine out. Now, what I can't wait for is tomorrow when we're gonna let this sit overnight, and then we're gonna go ahead and put the Jake on. Okay guys, well this is the moment we've been waiting for, at least that's what I've been waiting for. So we've gotten everything done like we showed here just a minute ago on the video. I've waited my day, and so the paint is nice and hardened. Everything's there. The only thing I've done, just so I don't get in the way of you guys' camera or your view, is to pull that one cover off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this one off now. Just get it out of the way. I'm going to set it up here. And you can see I got Jake already ready to go over here, guys. Now, this is probably the easiest thing, or I say that a lot on some of this stuff, but this really is a very simple thing. So what this does is this just mounts on by Velcro, okay? So all I'm going to do here is I'm just pulling the backing off. You can see here we can test fit this ahead of time, and it's going to sit right there, just like that, okay? And we're just going to center that right across there. You can see how that's going to fit, just like that, okay? And then at that point, we'll put the covers back on. We're good to go, okay? So I'm just going to pull these Velcro strips off. Well, now that I finally got all the Velcro off, we're just now going to go ahead and set this down, and that Velcro is super sticky. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and put this down. We're going to make sure that we get this right there in place, and we're going to kind of lightly set it down to make sure that we've got it pretty well centered. Okay, just like that. And we're going to press it down in place. Just like that. Got a little bit of overhang here on both sides, and it's fitting in the groove, so it follows the exact pattern of the engine, or the Plenum cover. Okay, and then at that point, we're just taking the covers, slide them, lock them back in place. Like that. Okay, we're going to come around the other side over here. Move the camera over onto that side so you can see, so I'm not getting in your view. I'm just going to take our cover. I'm going to make sure that our little rubber boots are here where they go, so we make sure that they're down, so I don't have the same issue that I had before where the cover ends up grinding off my letters. So I've got that in there like that, and then I'm just going to simply just snap that down. And you can see how that fit down there. It's as tight as a drum. Lines up exactly the way it's supposed to. This piece matches perfectly with the top of the plenum. So at this point, we're finished. Take a look at that, guys. Doesn't that look that looks awesome to me. I don't know about you guys, but I think this really makes the engine compartment, that's for sure. So guys, hopefully you found this video helpful and informative, and when it comes time that you want to dress up your engine compartment on your C7, that you look to American Hydrocarbon and they will be able to get you set up. Not only do they do the engine components, but they also do other accessories for the outside and inside of the car. So be sure and check out their website. I'm going to put that information right here on the screen, as well as their phone number. So if you have any questions, feel free to give them a call and they'll be able to help you. Hopefully the video that I took today shows just how beautiful his work is, and it looks like glass, guys. I mean, it's just perfect. So no flaws, no nothing. It just looks great. So you're definitely worth the money. So that's about it, guys. I want to take a second here to thank Pat over at American Hydrocarbon for sponsoring the channel today and sending this beautiful Jake Plenum cover over to be able to put on Jennifer's car, and I just really appreciate it. Guys, the rest of you that are just watching me for the very first time and you have not ever subscribed to the channel, if you would, I would really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell so you'll be alerted of all of my next uploads, as well as all of you that have been subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for supporting us. I really appreciate it.
So guys, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody involved that's watching it and sponsoring it. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you guys have a great night.
Audio Jungle.